Welcome, everybody, to an all new episode of Figure It Out, the show where we incorporate figures into any kind of conversation we want. And we've been enjoying the heck out of it. Today's episode is a very, very, very special one because we have a true special guest. My dad finally is on the podcast. I've tried my best to make sure it didn't happen so he didn't replace me on this podcast.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
I don't know, man. He comes up with some missteps, and we're ready. It's a baseball. You know what I mean?
They're putting him on blast.
I'm just picturing right now, like you ever see like when a pitcher gets taken out, like when he's like, no, I can do it. I can get the last guy out. And then the coach is like, you got to go. I'm just picturing Jaydee just tapping me on the shoulder. Like,
Give me the ball, kid. Go into the cleaner.
It's Mariano Rivera time. It's time for your dad to take over.
It can't be that bad.
I don't know. He's come up with some sharp stuff. And then,
wow.
Yeah, we're just like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see this episode progress.
I'm going to tell you this now. I won't say it now, but there's a lot of takes that I had that you guys were like, whoa, that I called my dad the next day and he was like, yeah, no, I agree with you. I was just like, they don't know that we're right here, Dad, but they'll find out. But Dad, welcome to Figure It Out.
Oh, an honor, without question. I'm actually glad to be a part of this tonight.
Absolutely. We're glad to finally have you. We've been wanting you on the show, and I'm glad we finally got you on here.
Until I actually heard you guys, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
To hear you guys say what you were just saying, especially in the beginning, I thought he was joking when he was like, hey, man, these guys really want to have you as part of the podcast. I was like, yeah, right, whatever. But I guess he was right.
They really did. 100%. I mean, it only took one hot take for me for them to go, nope, I've had it. No. There's at least somebody else that can come on here.
Listen, I'm feeling good about it because I'm no longer the oldest person on the.
Wow. Well, let's put on our track shoes. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Next up, Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What's going on?
Feeling a little better today?
Yes, actually.
All right, good. Joel was a little under the weather when we did our podcast yesterday, so making sure he's all right over there. Next up, Jaydee. What's going on, Jaydee?
What is up, Streamland? I hope everybody's doing well today.
I'm so excited to start this. And last but definitely not least, Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What is up, interwebs land? Welcome to Figure It Out.
Salute.
Absolutely. And Pete, I cannot wait to hopefully Friday shows us that the Mandarin is the power broker. So I can
it's a pretty good guess, man, at this point.
Really?
Into that. By the way, Jaydee, last thing before we get into this show, Magic-Core is in the Shang-Chi trailer.
Oh yeah?
Let me go turn that light on.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm just saying.
It's Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
But
all right. As Pete is doing that, we're gonna get started. All right, we're gonna start off with best sci-fi fantasy movie. Now, for a lot of these movies that I know I have on here, when you originally look at it, it says action adventure, but when you click on it, it expands itself. Action adventure, sci-fi fantasy. So as long as sci-fi fantasy is in there, it doesn't have to be the first thing that pops up. It just has to be in the neighborhood of it. But all right, I don't ever like to put anyone under the bus, so I will start off first. My best sci-fi fantasy movie is Infinity War, and my honorable mention had to go to Revenge of the Sith. I deeply love Revenge of the Sith. Hayden Christensen definitely was able to wash away that Attack of the Clones and give me what we needed for Revenge of the Sith. So I appreciate him for that. But it goes to Infinity War. I was telling my dad this yesterday. It was really the first time in a geek movie like that. I know a lot of people like to say Star Wars did it with Darth Vader. That wasn't really a win. Infinity War was really truly the first time a bad guy won, like legit won, not won the day. He legit one in the matter of they had to completely reshuffle the deck. And
snap of the finger.
Exactly. We're talking years later. Like Star Wars was that day, and then like a few days went by, and then they took the day back. So to me, Infinity War was a true loss, to where fans were just like, "Well, wait a minute, hold on, did they just disappear? What's happening here?" Like that was the best feeling in the theater with people who
that was a bad guy equivalent to a three-peat. I mean,
Yeah.
he kicked that in the butt.
Yeah.
I wasn't even really expecting that outcome. I mean, that lasted a minute.
Yeah. He definitely showed up like Jordan in the 90s in Infinity War. It was just like nobody's getting a win out here. But no, I really truly love Infinity War and everything it was able to do. It was very ambitious. I told Joel before, I didn't think that they were going to do the snap. I just thought there was no way you were going to sell that to people. Because you just have too many fresh fans that are just like, I just saw Black Panther and now he's gone. Like, what is this? You know? So it was just a really hard thing, in my opinion, for you to sell. And the fact that they were like, no, we're gonna do it. They'll be fine. They'll just have to see the next movie. They'll be okay. I really truly loved what it did. So to me, I'm going Infinity War is my best sci-fi fantasy movie. Dad, I'm gonna kick it over to you. What's one of your favorite?
Oh well, just to piggyback off of what you just said, Juwaan and I had a conversation the other day, which I agree with. It was good. It was definitely at the top, but a lot of it was wordy, and that kind of sometimes takes a lot from it for me.
Well,
I
you're
mean,
talking
when you
Endgame, right?
excuse me.
You're talking Endgame, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, sometimes with me, it's like there's a lot of things. It's like with the album where they put fillers in, they have like two hits and the rest is filler. And sometimes I just get that feeling with movies to where it's like a filler. I'm like, a lot of this dialogue isn't necessary in a lot of these things. But I agree with what his choice is. But just to break off from that for a second, because everybody's too tense, it sounds like, and too serious. I feel that a movie you should throw in there is Valerian.
Oh, nice.
Good one,
Good
yes.
call
We talked about it. We talked
Yep.
about it last week.
Brought that up
I'm
a
a
few times.
huge fan of Valerian. It
But I
gives-
never heard a lot of people talking about that, which is
no, because
strange.
unfortunately the critics were not kind to that movie whatsoever. And we unfortunately live in a timeline where people who aren't sure about seeing movies really rely on critics, and when they say it's horrible, they then don't want to go out and see it. So that's what Valerian was a victim of. But it was not a bad movie whatsoever.
Don't you find that, like, I mean, I admit I don't get to the movies too often unless it's something like Endgame or Infinity War or something like that.
Right.
But I always listen to the critics and I'm like, oh, I guess the movie's terrible. But then if it comes on like HBO or it winds up on a streaming service, I'm eventually going to watch it. We would talk about like sci-fi stuff last week, and Valerian had come up. I'd seen that. It was a really pretty movie.
Right.
I liked outer space visuals, and that was really cool. Just like that other flick, Jupiter's Legacy or Jupiter.
Jupiter's Legacy.
No. That's the comic book show that's coming out. Jupiter something.
Ascending.
Ascending. Thank you.
Ascending.
That was an interesting flick. I didn't hate it.
That's
What's her name?
Girl from
Channing
Ascending
Tatum.
show?
Yeah.
Entertainment. Okay.
Yeah, and what's her name from the Ascending show?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that movie to me was like, at least Valerian, in my opinion, was
Valerian was way better, but I'm saying it was it wasn't a terrible flick. It was like,
No,
okay, this
I've
is
seen
fun
worse.
for 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen worse, but it definitely wasn't.
There's quite a few sci-fi movies that if the visuals were and the aesthetics were as good and the acting was as good as the aesthetics and the look of the movie, a lot of these sci-fi movies would have really been great too.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
go ahead, Dad.
But no, like I said, Valerian. I don't know. There's quite a few that, in my opinion, that people don't really mention, unless it's like I hate to. I don't want to break away. I'm going to come right back to the subject. But like for instance, like back when Crank came out, Juwaan, you're familiar with Crank. The critics tore that thing to shreds, and I still went to see it, and I had a ball. You can't listen to these guys because a lot of these guys are like 98 years old when they want to see My Left Foot or my knuckle got cut off, or one of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
And they really don't appreciate what the actual Americans, us out here, really appreciate. And so I don't really go by critics. I just go by, if it looks good in the trailer, if it catches my eye, or sometimes, a lot of times it's word of mouth because somebody might see it and then come back to me and say, hey, man, you really got to check this out. Like the host of this show, I go by a lot of things that he says because he's a genius.
Look at his smile. Look at his smile.
Well, I mean, he's not lying, but no. All seriousness, no. But I mean,
That is.
it's not. I do want to stress this. It is not a bad thing to listen to a critic. We are critics. We come here and tell you if we liked it or disliked it. So it's not
but
a
you
bad
guys are
thing.
yeah, but you guys are good critics.
I will not disagree with that at all. But I will say, to me, it's just one of those things to where it's like, where I say a critic could sometimes be dangerous to a viewer is if you, like, for example, if you see the trailer to Valerian and you go, oh, this looks good, like, I want to go see it. And then your favorite reviewer comes out and goes, it is hot garbage. And then you go, oh, well, not going to go see it. Give it that chance. Like, something about it caught you. So allow it to lead you to go see it. And then if it's bad, it's bad. Maybe next time, I guess maybe you do listen to them. But to me, take that chance.
Is it possible?
Go ahead.
Is it possible I can ask the gentleman a question?
Yeah, sure.
A movie that I consider sci-fi that I was very disappointed with, but my son is we're kind of at, I'm not going to say at odds, but I really thought they could have done so much better with Spawn.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you guys, I spoke to him many times about it. What do you guys think about that particular movie?
Well, for me, the cape design just took me out of suspending disbelief altogether.
Yeah, I think the CG was too early for that kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's trying too hard.
I don't know. It just really didn't work for me.
I thought it looked fine, for the time, but like the movie itself, it's iffy.
And son, now tell them about the latest incarnation that will never happen.
Oh, of Spawn, yeah. I don't like to talk about that. I don't like to give Todd McFarlane any space in my brain, so I will choose not to.
Oh no, not a top fan. Not a top.
No. Only when it comes to why we don't have a Spawn movie in production.
Oh, okay.
In a trailer in our hands right now. He is the reason, and it's like, I choose not to say anything bad about the man, so I just rather not talk about it. But as far as the original Spawn movie, where the disagreement usually is between me and my dad is, I think of that movie from 8 or 9 years old when I saw it. And to me, it was just like, this is freaking amazing.
Right.
So it's, when I think of that movie, that's how I think of it. I don't think of it as, I'm older and I'm like, no, this looks really bad. So to me, I thought it was good for what it was doing in that time. I mean, it was trying to be very ambitious with some of its special effects and stuff like that. It did, to some people it didn't hit, and I get it. I really do get it. But I thought the performances were great. I thought some of the castings were great. They stuck as true to Spawn as they possibly could. So
the nailed Clown too.
They nailed it.
Oh yeah,
Leguizamo was great.
Yeah.
But see, the opposite side of that for me was hearing Mel Bolgia and getting the Frank Welker voice that we got a million times over. I'm a big Frank Welker fan, but it's the same Frank Welker voice that we got for the Claw in Inspector Gadget. And any other time they needed a big bad, it was that. And then the CG effects of hell, it just looked like it was a CD-ROM game for me. So it really
did. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
But Juwaan, I want to piggyback off what you said, like looking at something through that child's eyes. I probably got a lot of things here on my list that I still look at that way. So I understand exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, at that point, there's no argument. There's nothing that's going to take that away from you. Exactly. This is still awesome, no matter how cheesy it is, today, or how well it doesn't hold up, quote unquote.
Right.
I mean, in my opinion, and then Dad, I want you to give us your pick so I can pass it around. I'll never forget. Like, I get people's issue with Rise of Silver Surfer, right? I get it. Not arguing that.
That was bad.
But I saw that in the theater in Flemington in like a small theater with my dad. And I remember going, Silver Surfer looks amazing. And that was really all I needed. The voice was amazing. When you first see him come out of the board, it was just like, oh my God, it just looks amazing. But then you get to the end and it's like, what is that? I completely get it. Trust me, I do. But to me, with movies, I always hang on to the memory of it, like who I saw it with, the circumstances. And then, how old was I when I saw it, like that to me also holds value because I see it through those lenses. When I watch it now, I might go, no, I get it. But
can I add to your like of Silver Surfer?
Mm-hmm.
You had a combination of two amazing actors. First, you had the voice coming in with Lawrence Fishburne, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it gave him that gravitas that the Silver Surfer had of always being, just a thinker. But then you had an actor that is not mentioned a lot, but we've seen quite a bit in Doug Jones.
Yeah.
And Doug Jones' physical acting, his performances. I mean, when haven't we loved Doug Jones do something, right?
Yeah.
Silver Surfer, the Hellboy. 3 parts that he played in Pan's Labyrinth.
He was
Hellboy as Abe Sapien. You know,
right.
I mean, even on the new Star Trek Discovery, he's on there killing it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I do want to say, speaking of Hellboy, another movie that me and Joa actually saw the remake of Hellboy in theaters together.
Oh,
that movie was destroyed.
I liked it
unfairly. It was very unfairly destroyed. It was not, and I think too many people had the original in mind when they went to see it, and it was just it didn't live up to what in their mind Ron Perlman did. And I get it, but you can never really do that. You can't hold it to that. Ron Perlman is like, that's a legacy actor right there, what he did with Hellboy. So you had to give David Harbour a chance. And me and Joel went in there taking Ron Perlman out of our heads, and we truly enjoyed the movie. Like, was it the greatest thing ever? No. But was it horrible? No.
Okay.
No, I definitely left it going, I would like to see more from this, especially how it ended. So it really sucks that we'll probably never see a sequel come out of that. No. They'll just probably put it on a streaming service somewhere as a series rather than doing a movie again.
Sadly.
Or people will get their Perlman cut and he'll do his 4th movie or 3rd movie or whatever. But all right, Dad, so we can pass it on. What movie is your favorite sci-fi fantasy?
No, only kidding. To be honest with you, it caused a lot of controversy with a lot of people I spoke to about this particular movie. And I don't know if you want to put it in that category, but I'm not talking of, it had a lot of imagination. It was well done to me. And no, not the original one with Mel, you know who, but I like Mad Max.
Oh, yeah.
The second one that was done, not the one with Mel Gibson.
Oh, you mean Fury Road?
Not the original. Yeah, Fury Road.
Yeah. Fury Road.
Tom Hardy.
No, Fury Road was great. Fury Road is amazing, man.
That was amazing.
I mean, just the imagination, the way it was filmed. I mean, I just dug it, man.
Yep. They say that when you're telling a story, right, you either have to have a beautiful looking environment with a lot of backstory, but a simple story, which is what Mad Max was, get from point A to point B and back from point A to point B. So it's easy for the viewer to get their head around, right? The plot was simple, so they got more time to explore, the elements that are in the background that make it pop. And Fury Road, man, that movie was beautiful looking.
Excuse me for saying Mad Max, but I just really enjoyed that. I mean, I just dug it.
It's a great pick, and what Mad Max does that I haven't really seen in cinema history is they value dialogue. And what I mean by that is it does not have an overflux of dialogue, so that when they do speak, it's meaningful. It's like, oh damn, what did he just say? Like, I missed it. There's not like they're just talking about, man, yesterday it was sunny and today it's like, no, it's like meaningful conversation. So when they speak, you're like, oh crap, I didn't hear what he said. Damn.
So
it's just more impactful.
So you're saying basically it wasn't Quentin Tarantino-ish.
I was thinking the same thing.
I will say, of all the genius that man has in his body, there are so many scenes in his movie that, like, if you didn't hear, it's like, no, it's okay. They legit were just talking about what they did the night before. Like, it was really not important.
I mean, his movies would be so much shorter.
Yeah.
The dialogue is like incredible.
Yeah, but that's why I love Kill Bill, the first and the second one. It wasn't like a whole bunch of dialogue, but when she did speak, you did need to listen. You needed to listen up and kind of see what was going on. She did tend to tell long-winded stories, but that's neither here or there. But no, Mad Max is a great pick. You definitely got Jaydee excited with that.
Hell yeah.
He loves the mention of Mad Max. Speaking of Jaydee, we'll go to you, Jaydee. What sci-fi fantasy movie are you putting in?
Okay, so for me, sci-fi fantasy is a specific genre, and it's got to hit two main elements. One, there's got to be a desert scene somewhere in there, right? And two, it's got to seem like it fits into a Frank Frazetta painting, right?
Wow.
So for me, my sci-fi fantasy pick is none other than Conan.
I was just thinking that.
It hits those
Arnold
elements.
Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Oh yeah, only one.
100%. Yeah.
I was like, only
yeah. Yeah. Conan the Destroyer. Red Sonja.
Cole the Conqueror.
Yeah. No, because Kevin Sorbo, he's dead. So
he was a Schwarzenegger wannabe.
He was. He no, not even. He never got that jack.
He
but
would.
Conan worked, and as a special oh my god, a runner up. What we call it? The
honorable mention.
Honorable mention. There we go. Yeah. All right. Honorable mention is a Conan wannabe, and somebody who did get jacked in a way that Kevin Sorbo did not, and that is Mark Singer in Beastmaster.
Yes.
That's honorable mention. That is the He-Man movie we should have gotten.
That's true.
Going back to what Juwaan said earlier, that is one of those movies that definitely does not hold up to the test of time. Visually, right? But conceptually, yeah, it's great. And then, you got the cast. Mark Singer held his own in that flick. Tanya Roberts, John Amos, Rip Torn. What
movie was that again?
Beastmaster.
Oh my God, you just rung a bell. I'll wait till you're done, sir.
The Wayback Machine just got turned on.
You're going down that path. How come nobody's mentioning Flash Gordon?
Oh, come on.
With Queen doing the soundtrack.
I actually watched it this weekend. I had my niece over, and I wanted to torture them because they got me watching Teen Titans, and there's a Teen Titan episode that hits a lot of 80s elements, and that's The Night Begins to Shine.
Yes.
And, my nephew was just running at it. I'm like, oh, well, if you like 80s stuff, you're gonna love Flash Gordon. It bombed.
Oh my God, what garbage!
It bombed with me, but Brian Blessed as Voltan. Oh my God, he was a ham, and he chewed up all the scenery he possibly could. Max von Sydow, Timothy Dalton.
My God, yeah.
Oh my God, Olivia Muti was Big's daughter. And then of course, come on, Flash was a jet, a New York jet.
Exactly.
So for me, Flash Gordon is there, but we've mentioned it quite a bit, so that's why I used Beastmaster.
How cheesy was that?
Yeah, super cheese. Oh my God, super cheese. Oh my! I had to watch it with IMDb on the trivia section, just so I can get those added elements and the pain and torture some of these people went through in the costumes. It should have been illegal for them to perform in it. Those Hawkmen guys, they couldn't sit down with those wings.
Oh my God!
Cutting into their skin, so they had to lay on their bellies. whatchamacallit. It's so good, it's bad.
Something just hit my. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Dad.
Yeah, something just hit my incredibly weak brain. I have a question, and then we'll get back to what we're discussing. Who was the one that you told me was into the horror genre?
Everybody here.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to put me on another day because we're gonna have to dig our teeth into that one. Let's get back to
but Pete,
let's get back to sci-fi.
But Pete, Dad, is the one that brought up the movie that you were telling me you and Aaron went to.
I told you many years ago, Zombies.
See,
Yes.
Pete,
What
I told you,
freaking movie!
He's gonna get mad because he was gonna be like, "I told you that many a times before." And I'm like, I forgot. I did.
Gentlemen,
Fulci was insane.
Just very quickly, I'm not going to hold up the show, but a friend of mine and myself, we lived in Colonia, and back then we were younger. Parents could care less about driving you anywhere, so we used to walk from Colonia to the Rahway train station, take the train to Elizabeth to the Ritz because they used to always show these horror double features on Saturdays.
Nice.
And that's where we saw Zombies for the first time, and I was like, wow, what a freaking movie, man.
Yeah.
That, I mean, especially when you're younger, that was crazy. I don't
First
know if
time you see that eyeball scene, how insane was that?
and right through the door, pulling her head toward the.
Oh God, I gotta blink. I can't.
Oh my God.
All right, to get back, Pete, I'm gonna go to you. Sci-fi fantasy, best sci-fi fantasy movie.
I want to touch on something that Jay said. Beastmaster was also a favorite of mine. I also rented the much lower tiered, less clothing throughout the entire flick, Deathstalker. That was another like Conan ripoff kind of at the time.
That's on Amazon right now.
Yeah, no, it's worth the watch, but don't be sober. But Beastmaster, bro. Everybody says it's the He-Man movie that we should have gotten. Not for nothing, it would make a pretty dope Kazar movie.
Oh, nice. Good call.
Yeah.
The Panther Taboo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I couldn't decide between. I had some animated flicks running around in my brain, so I just saved those for a quick shout out to The Last Unicorn from Peter S. Beagle and The Black Cauldron, which is like an RPG done by Walt Disney. It's insane. It's such an amazing movie, and it is also. Keep this one in the back of your head if you're ever on some weird trivia game. The Black Cauldron is the only Disney movie that doesn't have a damn sing-along.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
I never knew that existed.
And it's got one of the scariest villains ever to be put in a children's cartoon. The Horned King it's so sick. Nice. It's on Disney Plus. Please go check it out. Do yourself the favor. But
the Mulan the live action one didn't have a sing along, did it?
No.
I don't think so, but no, this was the only animated movie that doesn't have a sing along.
Oh, okay.
But you're right, it doesn't sound like it's an animated movie. It sounds like it would be live action, but oh man, it's amazing. I haven't read the books. It's like 5 books. The Chronicles of Prydain. Never got around to it because
did Raya the Last Dragon have a sing along?
You know, I didn't watch. Oh, that's the new one. I'm sorry, I didn't watch that yet. I don't know. Probably.
I'm gonna say I would assume it would have had to have, because the Disney movie that came out before that had it. So I don't think they would stop that, mainly because Moana. Anything people remember about that movie was the songs. And that's not a shot. I'm just saying the songs were so big.
The great songs.
No, that's what I'm saying. That people really only remember the songs. So I'm like, I don't think Disney would stop that streak.
I watched it, but I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep. But it was good. But I don't remember much singing though.
Wait, like I'm just picturing someone watching this, like, man, should I watch this? And Joel's like, I fell asleep, and I'm like, oh, well, nope.
No, it was I watched it late, and I had it on for my daughter, so it was really for her. I did it. What I thought. I enjoyed the bits that I remember. But again, I don't remember much singing though.
Interesting, because we know that's something that Disney is just like how HBO is like, you must be nude in all of your shows. Like Disney is like, there must be a song in everything that's put out.
I'm a simple creature. That's going to get me watching it.
Yeah,
Indeed.
really.
I'm gonna be honest.
I can see Pete like nudity. All right, I'm there. All right, you got it.
So wait, what's the new Cinemax? Is that it?
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being honest, no. Technically, Stars is the new Cinemax because.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Stars legit. They like HBO to me does it tasteful. Stars is just like, no, she just like didn't have a shirt on just cause. It's like, wait, why? Like, I don't know. We just didn't want her to. It's like, okay.
I'm rewatching Spartacus right now. So yeah.
Spartacus is the best.
Yes, it is.
Good.
Spartacus might be the only show that shouldn't be TVMA. It should be TVXXX. Just to give people a
You're
better
talking
idea.
about the series, correct?
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah.
What a series that was.
I'm gonna rewatch it again myself, actually. Damn.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon with commercials, and I can deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta pass.
So Pete, so those are your honorable mentions, but
Yes. Going back to live action movies, I have to give credit to The Neverending Story, The Princess Bride, and my runner-up, Willow. I love Willow. I do.
Okay, Pete, time out. You're gonna be really mad at me. So you pick Neverending Story, right?
You've never seen it.
First, no. I have.
Okay, just making sure. I'm used to you, Juwaan, at this point.
When I first built Geek Vibes Nation, one of our biggest interviews at the time was from the lady who was the little girl, right?
Really?
And at the time, I had not seen the movie, so I was just like, no, thank you. Like, I have no interest. And like now, I look back and I was just like, man, to have had that on the resume, like to have said I interviewed her, might have been pretty dope. But yeah, it was one of my first interviews I had, Joel, before we did the Martian Manhunter one. That was like our first one. And I remember just going, no, thank you.
We didn't know we were doing anyway, so it worked out.
That was so fair. I would have been horrible at the time. It would have been horrible.
That was worse than not seeing the movie.
Yeah. That might be worse than
that was worse than not seeing the movie.
Yeah. Like I said, I look back and I'm like, ugh, probably should have just did it.
Pete's like, give me your contact info. I'm gonna.
You know what's crazy? I still have that email in my inbox that I'm pretty sure is still updated. Like I can go back, but never did. So I just thought it was hilarious that you said that because I was just like, oh my god, I could have spoken to that lady. But
you saw The Princess Bride, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But my number one, Legend, man. Legend is dope. With Tom Cruise, Mia Sarah. Nobody. Legend. The damn fights. The damn Tim Curry is the devil.
Yeah, Tim Curry the devil is serious.
I recently rewatched it. Tim Curry doesn't come in until after halfway through the movie. It's good for a memory.
I did preface all of this with I'm still looking through that little kid's eyes. Am I not? Did I not?
You did. You 100% did.
You did. You did it. I'm sorry.
It's gonna get worse from here, so just steel yourself.
Is it worth visiting? Because I truly have never heard of that. Legend?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when you said Legend, I swear I thought you were talking Tom Hardy's movie where he was.
No.
I was just like,
no. Tom Cruise, Tim Curry,
as a young
Sarah, who is from Long Island, by the way, and that was her first.
I did not know that.
Yep, that was her first flick. Whatchamacallit? Who else was in that flick? Interesting fact about that movie, if you saw it, the little Pip the Troll and the green lieutenant villain goblin was she was Spanish and he was Polish. She spoke better English, so she dubbed his lines here in the States, and when it was done in Poland, I believe, or Germany, he dubbed her lines. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it was a nice move. Yeah,
it's just like, hey, you are not good at this. I got it from here.
It's not going to help me make any money in the world, but hey, I'm sure.
I guess what it is for me with this. Sorry.
No. Go ahead, Pete.
Like this movie kind of set the stage for a lot of the things that I would like in the future. Like, you know, you've got your one titular hero, or not titular, that's the wrong thing to say, but you got your one like just kind of a Link-esque hero. You know, like you've got the the one character who has to overcome these odds and save the princess. It's a cliche story.
Right.
It's a cute story, but it works time and again. It's the same thing with the Black Cauldron. It's, you know, it's a kid who came from nothing who has to go get a magical sword and go save the princess. It's worked for me in RPGs, cartoons, movies, and even comic books, and hell, some of the stories I wrote. It's a timeless trope.
Well, Pete, that's one of the faces, you know, the 1,000 faces of the hero, you know, and that's the pauper who finds himself out of his element, you know, and fighting in big world stakes.
Yep. All right, Joel, you're up. Sci-fi fantasy.
Sci-fi fantasy. I'm going to leave like superhero movies to the side because they're always going to be my number one. So I'll just leave any DC Marvel to the side for like when we do our own superhero show. Well, I'll bring them in. But I guess sci-fi fantasy for me is more like sword and sorcery type shit.
Yep.
I like sci-fi fantasy. So like when he said Conan, when Jaydee mentioned Conan, like that's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, that's a sci-fi fantasy to me.
Yeah.
And I grew up with like Conan the Barbarian and Destroyer. I fucking love those movies. And then of course the modern day was like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I really dug the shit out of those movies. And those are probably my favorite modern days, like sword and sorcery-esque type of sci-fi fantasy. So I would probably say the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah, like, I went back, I revisited those movies, and I still do believe they're really good. I still do believe they are a lot longer than they needed to be. You wanted them longer, Pete? My God!
Did you see that meme running around with Elijah Wood or whomever, or somebody said that there's an 8.5 hour Peter Jackson version of the movies? Yeah. No, I'm sorry, 8.5 days worth of the movie. Wow. I will sit down and watch the whole damn thing for a week long. I don't care.
It's crazy. I don't think the movies are bad at all. I do think the Clerks joke about it definitely has stretched a lot longer than it should have. But I really do prefer the Hobbit movies. I really, truly do. I really, truly love those Hobbit.
Kid.
I do.
You're nice. Kid.
You know, I can't joke about him saying that he would watch an 8-hour version of those movies because I actually recently watched the Justice League for 4 hours. And I tell you what, it's way better than the original. It kept me captivated. Yeah. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
And the time flies in them hours. It doesn't matter. You just sit back, you watch.
Exactly.
Right.
And it does a real, like, it's different than when Martin Scorsese is like, hey, do me a favor, sit here for 4 hours. It's like, no, Martin, your movies are just talking. I can't do that. But,
yes.
But when like Justice League wants to do it and you see people flying around and action and kicks, you're like, I could do this for 4 hours. I 100% could do this for 4 hours. Oh, yeah. So I say that to say Martin Scorsese, don't give us any more 3-4 hour movies. Anyway, all right.
Nothing against. Go ahead.
No, nothing against Martin Scorsese at all. I love The Irishman, but I do remember as soon as I finished it, first thing I said to myself is, I will never watch this again.
Yeah.
Great movie, amazing.
Well, you know how I'm
not have the time for that. I just don't.
I'm a stickler for dialogue. You know, the cinematography, the directing, all of that. I brought that young man up on a lot of that stuff. I think that might be why he got the bug. But Scorsese has the best cast in most of his movies for doing freestyling, I call it, or ad-libbing, because a lot of that stuff you can tell is just like right off the cuff.
Yeah.
I don't even think a lot of the time they'll stick to a basic script, but it's almost like Second City. You know what I mean? I mean, when they do dialogue, I saw Casino the other day, and it was the same type of. You can tell there was so many things that between Pesci and De Niro, it was almost like they were just ad-libbing. I don't know if it was just to fill time, or Scorsese said, "Look, I trust you guys. Just go ahead and do what you want to do." I don't know.
Well, he works with literally the same actors for almost every movie he does, so it's definitely at this point a trust thing, where it's like, just go with it, whatever you're feeling. All right, let's move on to our second one. Best sci-fi fantasy scene. I, unlike Joel, I am leaning all into everything Marvel and DC. And I am 100% going with the Thor landing. And it's not even necessarily because I visually thought it was the greatest thing ever. It's purely because I've never heard a pop louder in a movie theater than when he landed and they played the Avengers theme kind of behind it. And it was Thor. Like, it was the Thor we have all been waiting for. I say this all the time. What's his name did with Thor Ragnarok was a step in the right direction, but the Russo brothers just understand these characters, I feel, just on a different level. Like, when they get a character, it's just like, why are they just better? Like, like he just understands it better. So to see Thor in all of his glory with Rocket on his shoulder, Groot right next to him, it was just like, I'm loving every ounce of this. My honorable mention is definitely one of the greatest sci-fi fantasy scenes ever, and that's definitely Anakin versus Obi-Wan and Mustafar. It's just poetry with feet and lightsabers. I loved every ounce of it, and it redefined what higher ground meant. Like, it legit, like, people now go to that when they're like, I got the higher ground. It's like, that's Obi-Wan. So I definitely love that, and I love whenever you guys, I don't know if you guys even listen to it, but when you hear George Lucas talk about that scene and how he wanted to make that as authentic to jousting is possible, how, like, he brought in like a whole trainer and everything. It's just it makes it look so much better, the understanding of it and everything. So I'm going Thor's landing in Wakanda, and then Anakin versus Kenobi is my best sci-fi fantasy scenes. Dad, what are you putting up for sci-fi fantasy scenes?
I might have to skip over this one because you guys will laugh at me.
No,
never.
Right.
Well, only because of the fact that I find my own ways, which my son will tell you, to justify things. And to me, there's no such thing as aliens, so I consider that fantasy. So the scene in the original Alien, which is sci-fi, I call that sci-fi fantasy because to me there's no aliens. So the scene when the alien popped out of the stomach of I don't know if you guys saw Alien.
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah.
original. That movie has so many scenes in it. I mean, you could pick it. To me, that was like almost number one on my list because it's the first thing that caught me that I saw that I was like, wow, what the hell just happened? I mean, I saw a lot of great movies, a lot of great action movies, sci-fi and otherwise, but for some reason that one stuck with me for a while. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Because it caught you and you weren't expecting it. And those types of things are the things that catch my attention. So definitely Alien. So I don't know if you guys would even put that into sci-fi, but like I said, the way I justify it, I would. So
I'll take it, and I'll definitely say I was not expecting that scene when it came time. Knowing me, I probably missed something dialogue wise somewhere, but when it was just like, oh my god, what is this? And then, like, you see it moving around, and then it kind of just burst out. I was just like, nope, I'll never eat again, ever, literally ever.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. I can just continue to talk and talk and talk, but that's why I keep my mouth shut and let you guys talk because I'll talk forever.
No, that's a great scene. And
because you want to talk about sci-fi, something that's not real. I know you're going to say I'm going off the rails again, but what about the original RoboCop?
Okay.
You can talk all day about that.
Juwaan popping for that. Look at him.
If you saw the trailers for that movie and then went to see the movie, you were like, that is not what I was expecting.
I didn't see it.
Oh, well, believe me, I'm 300 years old. I did see it.
Howard, I always wondered that. Like, did trailers just randomly come on like commercials?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine.
See, back then there was one guy that they don't do it like that anymore. But there was one guy who had the corner the market on all of the trailers. When you go to the movies, you would always hear, "She thought nothing was going to happen."
Yeah.
And then that guy he had the corner market cornered on that. He was like almost in every trailer. That guy, whoever he was, God bless his soul.
I only asked because I remember Kevin Smith saying, a lot of people missed out on Phantom of the Menace trailer because it showed before a specific movie. Like, it wasn't just showing all the time. It had shown before a specific movie. And now, like, I only know a world where trailers are super accessible. Like, I don't have to sit in a movie theater to see this trailer. So I'm like, I don't remember a time when I didn't have the ability to just go do 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 do. All right, here's a trailer. Like,
I do remember a time where I actually used to go to movies just to see a trailer. Like,
yeah, sometimes you had to.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember
I will
those.
say though, I give movie theaters a lot of credit today, because I remember a time where you would sit down and trailers would go for like 15 to 25 minutes, and then the movie would start, and you would go, all right, listen, guys, you got to stop that. 4 trailers and then move it right along. Like, I don't need 90 trailers. Like, we have the internet. Move this right on along.
You have to remember another thing. We used to call them coming attractions back in the day.
Right.
When you say that, I immediately thought of my grandfather. Who's like,
hey, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
No. He would say, like, what's the name of that flick? And I'm like, I don't know what do you mean? And it's like, oh, that means like, that's what they would call movies. And I'm like, I don't understand. So like, when you say coming attractions, I'm like thinking it's like a theme park. Like, I don't. Trailer.
Dude, that's back when they had the dancing candy and popcorn.
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah. But prior to that, there used to be a cartoon. There used to be a newsreel.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me tell you,
21.
We took my friend's grandmother to the movies. At the beginning of the movie, she stood up like ready to say the Pledge of Allegiance because apparently that was a thing. And I don't remember that, but yeah, swear to God, we're like, Graham, what are you doing?
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
wow.
I may never be able to be on this show again because you now know I'm 600 years old.
Oh God.
Wow. Well, that's the complete polar, because you view yourself as that, and everybody else views me as like 5, like I'm an infant. we're hitting on all cylinders here. But Jaydee, I'm gonna go to you. Your best sci-fi fantasy scene.
When sci-fi can make you cry, then it is a hell of a scene. And it's hard for me not to use my honorable mention as a superhero flick, but the honorable mention of Captain America just saying Avengers Assemble, man, that brought a tear to my eye. That's something I've been waiting, all my life to hear. So that's my honorable mention. But the other thing that made me bawl was, this is going back to Pete's pick, Never Ending Story, and Atreyu trying to pull Artax, his horse, out of the swamp of sadness. And the more forlorn, the more emotional he got, the deeper the horse sank in the swamp. And, he's losing his best friend. He's getting emotional, but his emotions are just dragging the horse down. And I mean, the metaphor for that in life, when you get older and you put that stuff together, it's just like, oh my God, and I still, to this day, man, just him trying to pull that horse out, it just, that kills me, man. Brings a tear to my eye every day, man. Anybody who's ever lost a pet,
I truly never saw that.
I saw a movie you've never seen. Interesting.
But it's almost something that has nothing to do with science fiction. It almost reminds me of and Juwaan, you guys can always get ready to laugh. I told Juwaan about this when I saw Finding Nemo. What a sad movie, man! Holy moly!
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Finding Nemo to me was mainly
that was like about.
It hit adults. Like, a lot of adults were just like, whoa, hey, hold on now. I was not expecting this. Like,
I took my 2 nieces to see it, and I got drawn in. I was like, wow, this is sad as hell, man. What the hell?
Dory having like some form of like all-time, like it got really emotional. But Jaydee, I'm glad you brought that up, because when people think of sad scenes, they immediately go Lion King, they go Bambi. Like, they never bring that up, and it's just the idea of like, it really hits you because it's like, oh no, like he can't stop crying, but if he did, he would probably be able to pull the horse out. And it's like, you can't.
I'm genuinely concerned, bro, that's your favorite scene. Like, do you need a hug or something?
It's my most memorable scene.
All right. I'm just teasing you, but I understand.
It's like, okay, you know what? Everybody's gonna go for the scene where the villain's head gets cut off in a flip, or they're gonna go the superhero route and stuff like that. And yeah, I've got my takes in that, but I'm trying to stay within my concept of a sci-fi fantasy and stuff like that.
I'm just messing with you.
No, I mean, look,
you know what hurts? I saw a dude cosplay as that with a horse's head in New York Comic Con, and
that kid needs therapy. That's disturbing.
Punch him.
Definitely punch. Yeah, punch him in the face.
I work at the con, and I see the kid dragging the horse head. Like, what's he doing? And then I see him bend down, get on his knees, and start crying. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Jaydee felt personally attacked, like the guy showed up just for him.
That's crazy.
I'm here for Jaydee. No, but I really do appreciate that. And from one of the last few episodes we did, I'm glad you went that route because I told you how much and we're not gonna go through it again, but Thor's scene with his mother in Endgame.
Yeah, that's a great scene. Yeah.
Scenes like that, like they're so heavy.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was, and I also told you Miles jumping off the side of the building. Yeah. What that means, is just scenes like that just kind of really just hit you. And I love that you brought that scene up. Pete, I'm gonna go to you. Sci-fi fantasy scene.
There is only, I mean, if we're mentioning superheroes, which I completely excluded these movies, but when Thanos got hit with Mjolnir and it comes back and all of a sudden it's Cap that's holding it, the theater erupted. Like that alone was a great feeling. Like people say, oh, why do you wait on the line? Why do you deal with the crowds on opening day? Shit like that is why. Because that was an amazing feeling. That's like being at a concert and the whole audience is singing every word to every song that the band is doing on stage. Like the energy is unbelievable, and that made that scene very memorable for me. So if I'm mentioning a superhero flick, that's my superhero flick. But
wow,
I'm taking this back to, again, child Pete, 5 years old, sitting in front of his TV after school. And there is no greater sci-fi fantasy scene than that sword coming out of Prince Adam's scabbard and raising it up, transforming into He-Man, bro. That scene shaped so much of my childhood, my childhood interests, and my interests going forward that I don't think any of this would be here today if it wasn't for He-Man, truthfully. And that scene, that all of this shit. And I mean, by the end of I was running around in my underwear. I would take two belts, and I'd clip them together in front of my chest. And I'd take like I make a sword out of cardboard and aluminum foil and be running around the house.
I love that.
All about, baby.
I love that. And I'll even say a movie that kind of struck that for me. And obviously it's not from my childhood, but I deeply enjoyed King Arthur, Legend of the Sword with
Sword.
Charlie Hunnam.
Oh, that was good.
Not only was that
was a show, right? I didn't see that.
No,
it's
a movie.
It was a movie? Oh,
yeah.
I don't know this one.
Not only was it well casted, Jude Law, Charlie Hunnam. I know I'm forgetting a million other people. But to me, it was just one of those things to where it was just like he found a way. Like, what's the name of the Guy Ritchie? Found a way to take a story that you kind of go, oh, well, I know where they're going with it because we've seen it a million times. And he did something super unique with it to where you're kind of just like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, I remember the first thing I said to Joelle when we saw the early screening for it, by the way, they had no faith in that movie. When we walked in, they were giving out shirts, posters, everything. And they said at least 500 times, tell your friends. It's like, but wait, usually like when you see a screener, They're like, don't tell anybody till like the embargo lifts. They were on your way out, like, tell everybody. And it was just like, damn, the movie was not bad. What are you so scared of? Like, but no, it opens beautifully. Me and Joel wish we saw about the light being on.
Right. Fucking lights on.
We had the lights on when they started the movie in the theater, and we were just like, somebody, please.
Couldn't see shit the first 5 minutes. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it was.
But bro,
very stressful.
Guy Ritchie only does heist movies. Every movie that Guy Ritchie has done, Lock, Stock, Snatch, Rock and Roller,
Gentleman.
even Aladdin was a heist movie.
Yeah,
Sherlock Holmes, both of them were heist movies.
I will tell you,
had to grab something.
I will tell you, part of this King Arthur movie does feel like a heist movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
it honestly does, but 100%. He has such a unique blend to it. Like, I don't want to give anything, but he has such a unique blend to it that you kind of go, like, I get it if you leave that movie and you go, oh, it wasn't all that great. But to me, I really did enjoy it. And I was heartbroken when they were just like, they'll probably never make another one of these. And I'm like, well, damn, it ended really cool. The visuals were great. The story was great.
Visuals were iffy.
I thought Guy Ritchie did Robin Hood with Jamie.
Did Guy Ritchie do that?
But I don't think he did.
No,
I don't think he did.
If Guy Ritchie, whoever did that, that movie also got way more hate than it deserved. It was not that bad. It just really wasn't. It really wasn't. Now, I don't put it on the same level as the only Robin Hood movie I acknowledge, and that's
Errol Flynn.
No.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
Russell Crowe.
Really?
Russell Crowe.
I love that Robin Hood.
Your dad said Kevin Costner. I'm hanging out with your dad.
Prince of Thieves, man.
It was only a matter of time.
We're gonna grab a beer. We're gonna throw a couple DVDs in, chill out, and we're gonna learn Juwaan something about movies.
It sounds like a win.
And you'll be lucky if we don't cut your heart out with a spoon.
Wow, look at that.
But some cool breaking news for our audience out there listening. Breaking news for you guys. We just got some quarterly reports, and it is official that for all you Cobra Kai fans, season 4 will be debuting this December or around December.
Nice.
And for you Witcher fans, season 2 will also be the end of this year.
Yeah,
so I am so excited for that. Henry Cavill has been raving about the season 2. So I cannot wait. And we did get some news that
took Witcher so long.
Well, COVID. Yeah, COVID, or it would have been out.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
They're also working on another Witcher game, so that's freaking awesome. I can't wait for that also. But yeah, so just wanted to bring that news up really quick. Yeah, because that definitely for sure. But all right, Joel. Oh, wait, Pete, that was it.
No, I was done, man. There's no contest for me. He-Man.
Got you.
It is what it is.
Nice.
Got you. I did want to bring up really quickly your mention of Cap getting Mjolnir and JD's mention of him saying Avengers Assemble. Both were set up in Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So that was really cool how it kind of came completely full circle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that movie ended with Avengers and then it cuts. And then you see Cap lifting Mjolnir. That's crazy. Cap had 2 of the most iconic moments in both of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Wow.
But not just that, bro. Those weren't the only 2 callbacks. There were so many callbacks.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You know, I mean, but the callbacks all paid off. You know, even something as simple as Sam Wilson getting to say "on your left" and seeing everything.
I'll even say the more simpler one that a lot of people just miss because they probably didn't care. Remember in Ant-Man and the Wasp where Ant-Man was saying, "Yeah, me and Cap," and she was like, "Cap," and he's like, "Yeah, I call him Cap." In Endgame, she goes, "All right, I got you, Cap," and they kind of look at each other to where he's like, "Oh, see, it's fun, right?" So like the Russo brothers paid so much attention to what came before. Even something as simple as, remember in Civil War, I don't think we've met before. My name's Clint, and T'Challa's like, "I don't care."
Yes, and he called him Clint.
In Endgame, he goes, "I got it, Clint," like acknowledging him. And it's
nice.
There's like a million callbacks that the Russo brothers were so meticulous on. And I'm just like, chef's kiss.
Great stuff. Yep. Hell yeah.
So yes, I'm glad you guys brought those two up. All right, Joel. Favorite scene? What are you going with?
I think I'm going with my favorite sci-fi fantasy series, at least modern day, which was in Game of Thrones, the Battle of the Bastards. That scene that I first of all, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, and that was one of the greatest moments in that series. Just like the fight, that whole fight with the Battle of the Bastards, just like it was awesome. It was like suffocating to watch. There was so much going on during that scene, but yeah, I just absolutely loved it, and just the iconic scene of Jon Snow holding the sword and like just by himself basically against the army, and it's just chef's kiss, like yeah, with people say, love it. I fucking love it.
Now, fun fact, I remember Game of Thrones was ending, and I'm at Joel's house, and I'm like, all right, yeah, like let's watch it. And Joel's like, you know, you've liked what came before, and I was like, I've never seen an episode before the one we're about to sit here and watch. Joel was very adamant every day. You will watch what came before you watch one episode of this final season. And I remember binging it going, this is freaking amazing. How did I miss out on this? Like, this is amazing Sean Bean. It has some of the most iconic scenes. And outside of the kid from Power, Tariq, I never thought there'd be a kid I would want to literally strangle more than I did. And then boom, here comes the Game of Thrones kid. I'm just like, no. Yeah, I would drown him for sure, 100%.
Yeah, Game of Thrones made that kid retire. You know that?
I mean, he had to. People couldn't separate the art from reality. They just saw him, and it was. I think a lot of fans, it was legit. You ever hear the term? It's on site. Like as soon as I see you, it was on site with that kid. No matter when you saw him, it was just like, I know who you are, and it was just like, it was just a show, guys. Relax. It's like no. It's like I gotta strangle you real quick. I'm sorry. But no, I mean, I love that battle, and I'll even say the battle with the White Walkers. That up until the very end, where it was kind of very obvious that you weren't going to get the square off that we had all been waiting for.
Right.
Until that moment, it was just like, this is
insane.
And I know a lot of people complain about BVS being primarily shot in darkness. Game of Thrones said, hold my beer. There was like a light maybe in the background. It was all dark up in that. But it was cinematic to me. So yeah, Battle of the Bastards, that's up there. That's like way up there. Good pick, Joel. All right. Last few. Best sci-fi fantasy ending. Before you go, Dad, I'll go to you. You give me your best sci-fi fantasy ending before you get out of here.
Dad? Wow, that's a tough one. There's so many.
Oh, you passed up character. We're not doing character?
No. I'm gonna go to character after this.
Okay.
After this,
okay.
You have to pass me on that one. There's a lot of great endings.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Wow.
Did you wanna stay around to hear everyone's answers, or did you wanna go now?
Oh no. I can listen to the answers, and then I have to jet. But before I allow them to finish up, just want to say real quick, guys, it was definitely a pleasure. You guys are awesome.
It's fun.
Great, man.
I will be doing this again.
Nice.
And I'm not getting any money for this, but please watch Gangs of London. Okay, continue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my dad is definitely getting paid to.
That's 2 notes I'm writing today.
But all right, so I'll go first. Best sci-fi fantasy ending. It is sci-fi fantasy, but I get how people would go. I'm gonna go with Logan. And I'm gonna take a page from your book, Jaydee. Just being hit in the feels. I mean, it hit you so many ways. I mean, I again, another movie I saw with Joel. That's actually the first screener we went to as like a company.
Yeah.
We all went berserk when he went into Berserker Wolverine mode.
Wow.
It was just like, oh, I've been waiting so long for this.
Seeing my child come to life, that was definitely like fun, like legit seeing him go berserk. Not like half-assed berserk. Like
no, that was full on. That was full on. And even the choreography of like them fighting off of each other. You seeing X-23 run off of his back and like stab dudes. But everyone always says what kind of broke them was when she finally acknowledged him as like her dad. What broke me was when she took the stick that was in like the shape of like a cross and then turned it to an X, and it was just like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to make it. Like, it just like my soul was just like, oh no, this poor girl. But that was some of the best X-Men action ever. Like, there's, to me, in my opinion, there is nothing the Fox X-Men universe has done that I even put close to that ending scene, that ending fight scene in Logan. I know people love the Nightcrawler scene. It's great, but it's not Logan great. Like, his fight scene was even the
Fox
kids were
X-Men.
brutal. The one kid who used the tree, like the bark off of the tree to like shoot it into the, oh, it was so freaking well done. The only thing that would have made this movie better is if they went with their original idea and brought back what's his name to be Sabretooth. Yeah, instead of having Logan fight Logan. That would have, if that happened and Sabretooth was how we said goodbye to Logan, oh man, goodness gracious, that movie would have gotten awards. Are you serious? But yeah, that ending scene broke me, and it's definitely why it's one of my all-time favorites. You're gonna say something, Jaydee?
No, I'm thinking, and you hit me in the feels. And the thing is, whenever a movie ends or leads into the climax, when they acknowledge parenthood in some way,
yeah,
that draws to me. You know what I mean? And it's like, I know it's not sci-fi fantasy, but Creed, the scene where Michael B. Jordan got the shorts, Apollo shorts, right? And Felicia Rasad's name in the flick was Marianne, but the note said love, and the initials of Marianne, it said love mom. So she wasn't the stepmom, she was mom. Right. You know, it wasn't mentioned. And just, if you catch that, oh, that scene just gave Creed a spot in my heart. So so whenever, you know, something like that, a parenthood is acknowledged, I love shit like that, dude.
And I love it when it's done like that, because there was no acknowledgement. Like, of course, Xavier said, like, that's essentially your daughter, but there was never a connection between the two of them throughout the entirety of that movie. It wasn't until Xavier died that they kind of realized we're all we have left. Like, it's only us, you know, it's only us.
I mean, it was acknowledged facetiously when they met the family on the road. He said, "This is my father, this is my daughter."
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even when she kind of let her guard down and let him know that she could talk, was kind of hard. Yeah. So it was just very well done. I know James Mangold hates me for the beef that we had. But
what beef?
When Humberto Gonzalez came out and said that Deadpool was in Logan, and James Mangold came out and said that's a lie, and Humberto's like, no, I have my sources, and James is like, I literally directed the movie. I went out and I defended Humberto, because it's like, scooping is what we do. James Mangold, 1 o'clock in the morning, was not happy with me siding with Humberto. So much so that I said, all right, so if Deadpool is in this movie, you have to come on my podcast and apologize. And then it turns out Deadpool was the little trailer before the movie started, not in the movie. So it was, it was very facetious of how it was placed. But he didn't block me. Joe Manganiello blocked me. But
really?
Yeah, okay. What? So all right.
Did you say something bad about Dungeons and Dragons?
No, I would never do that. I actually want to play it. I actually really want to get into it.
Just not with Joe Manganiello.
No. So what I did, which I guess was a no-no, was he's a huge Steelers fan. So the year New England beat the Steelers, I had said the Steelers lost to the Patriots, how Deathstroke will lose to Batman because Ben's a Patriots fan. And all I know is I was looking for him like to respond with something funny, and then I went back and it was just like, Joe's blocked you. And I was just like, well, that's childish. Like, I don't think that was necessary, but okay.
You were trying to get a rise out of him.
I swear to you, I was. I was. I can't lie. I really was. But no, Jaydee, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go to you.
Yeah.
Your ending.
Best ending?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is like Pete going back to the 5-year-old in me. And Krull, when that glaive comes out and he just spins it and he keeps using it to kill that beast alien leader, you know, in that flying castle at the end. Talk about a menagerie of science fiction and fantasy elements. That's one of my favorite endings as a kid.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that. I just love how Pete's just kind of just like, I don't know.
No, I know Crow. I remember that movie.
All right, Pete, I'll pass it off to you. What ending are you going with?
I was actually a little nervous that Jay was going to have the same answer as me, especially when he said he's going back to, you know, the 5-year-old thing. Because I actually kind of had the same answer as you, but at a different point. My favorite ending was Conan. Both movies had the same ending where he's sitting on the throne and it's like Conan has been a warrior, a lover, a king. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
And it's just that sight of him on the throne like this, like, oh man, I loved it. And I would have watched 100 of them sequels with Arnold. I really would have.
You know, that scene was foreshadowed by Max von Sydow. When he was sitting on his throne, he was sitting the same way. When Conan walked into the throne room to talk to him, he was lamenting about, you know, his child and how she ran off, did his own thing. So he got his concept from a previous king.
I didn't realize. I didn't pick up on that.
I like that you brought that up because it was something like that is what I was kind of hoping Whedon stuck to with Ultron, like the scene where you see Ultron in like the throne, but it's just his back, and he's talking to Wanda and Pietro. There's one iconic cover of Ultron's where he's just sitting on like this throne chair, and I think like there's like Ultron heads around him or something like that. And I thought Whedon was gonna go there, and I'm like, oh, that would look so dope, and he never did. And I was just like, I think that's something like filmmakers have gone away from, but it's so dope. Like to have seen Thanos on the throne would have been dope. Hopefully we get Victor Von Doom in a throne room like that. Super.
We have to.
Whoa, man! With that, there's no one else that should be on the throne more than Victor Von Doom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Dad.
Oh, you know, I can't remember which one of you gentlemen had shifted for a second and mentioned Creed as far as the ending. Before I go, I have to throw 3 at you, and you guys can jostle it around at another time. But endings. The first one is the ending of the first Kill Bill, and they said that she know the baby is still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good call.
That hit me. That was a great ending because you couldn't wait for the second one. But the killer one is the original Saw. I saw it in a packed movie theater, and everybody's jaw hit the ground. That was an ending.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that one coming.
Now those are endings.
No, that
either that or Kaiser Soze.
Oh, good move.
Yeah. No, I mean, I always get nervous because I don't know if like it's socially acceptable to bring him up anymore. But I love this show on Netflix, and I loved him as Kaiser Soze, but it's like you can't really find many people willing to have that conversation because you know everything he's done. But yeah, that was one of those things where it was like, as you saw it, you were just like, what? Like, did I miss something?
I was like, wait a minute, this guy ain't limping anymore. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Stroke of genius. That was definitely very well done.
You know what? That gives I think, Juwaan, this is a great concept for another episode, and it's best ending by genre.
Ooh.
So we can call out a few of them.
I would have to come back for that one.
Oh yeah, no, I would definitely like that. Because there's a lot of horror ones.
Yeah.
What's the one where the guy was blind and you loved the movie? The guy was blind and they couldn't talk. Don't speak or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh
ending.
my God!
Don't spoil the ending, Dad. Don't spoil the ending.
Oh, well, they broke into that.
I won't, but it's just the point that when you have a film, I don't remember the writer or the director, but I told Juwaan, those are the kind of movies that I give so much credit to that other people won't. Because when you can have like 4 to 5 people in the cast, and it all happens in a house for the entire movie, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat, that's a freaking movie.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
I mean, come on, everybody can't pull that off.
No. And even the ending was kind of just like, oh wow, like okay, all right, yeah, I'm tuned in for whatever you do next.
They're supposed to be.
Yeah, they said they finished it. I don't know when they're gonna actually release it, but they said they finished the second one.
Funny, I saw something today on YouTube that just the promo image had his face and said something about the sequel. I didn't click on the video yet.
Don't breathe. That's what the
don't breathe.
Don't breathe. Don't breathe. Don't breathe. But yeah, they said they finished the sequel. So
well, they better hurry up.
We'll see. I mean, I think it's just all about placement. Like, to be honest with you, it's a very packed fourth quarter this year. So I personally wouldn't want to release it this year if I were them.
One last thing, and then I have to go, gentlemen. Once again, it was a pleasure. You
Likewise.
guys are all awesome, I got to tell you.
Thank you.
And whoever it was that wrote down the Gangs of London,
that was me.
I have one more thing for your list. Unless you saw it already, shoot them up.
Oh no.
Juwaan will talk to you about that at another time.
All right, Dad, really quick before you go, Joel will never give me Shoot 'em Up.
I'll never.
I rave about this movie. I think I've raved about this movie since the first day I met Joel. He will never say nice words about that movie.
Ever been more disappointed watching a movie in my life.
What is better to you? What is better to you? Shoot 'em Up, Crank, or Baby Driver?
Baby Driver.
Oh, Crank?
Yeah.
I never saw Baby Driver either, actually.
No, Baby Driver is top level elite, but Crank was the most creative I think the movie world had been in forever. The idea of just like, you literally cannot let your heart stop. You got to do everything you can to keep that sucker going.
That was inventive, imaginative. That was an awesome movie. And then they really ruined it by putting out Hardcore Henry, where I got epilepsy from watching that movie.
Hardcore Henry, like, I do believe maybe 10 years from now, that'll be something like, whenever someone properly does Doom, will be the first time that style will be done correctly. And then you can maybe work off of it, because there should never be a Doom movie that at some point I'm not just watching a hand and a gun shoot. You have to do that. It's just an homage to the game. It's why the first one I put and you guys.
Doom. I thought you said Dune.
Oh no, Doom. Sorry, Doom. You guys know I love Carl Urban, so Doom had me so sad.
There was what was the movie along those lines of Crank and Hardcore Henry with the Tom Hardy lookalike guy?
Like guy.
Yeah, it was Logan Marshall Green.
Yes. Oh my God, Kanan swears by that movie.
It's a good flick. I don't remember the name of it, but damn, that's a good flick.
Yeah, but it's along that vein of Hardcore Henry and
damn it.
But way better than Hardcore Henry. Like
I really want to.
I never heard of that, but then again, that's like my kid. We disagree on. He said he thought Upgrade was great.
No, that's the movie.
That's
Upgrade.
the movie. I enjoyed it.
Upgrade.
I don't know. I was kind of at odds with that one.
Well, I tell you what, it's not worse than Hardcore Henry. So
Hardcore Henry was garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That I always
Hardcore Henry's in the same genre and the same garbage can that Soul Plane is in.
I don't know.
Two movies that should never have been made.
Soul Plane I might have to put in a separate garbage. Like that was otherworldly horrible. Like it was a movie that wasn't supposed to be taken seriously and was still horrible.
I'm about to say that movie wasn't meant to be taken seriously.
and it just still be horrible. Like, hey guys, don't take it seriously. And it's like, no, we didn't, and you still managed to suck. But
if you remember, watch the stuff that I mentioned if you can. I know you guys are busy, and once again, I enjoyed it. You guys stay safe, and believe me, I will be back on another episode. You can believe that.
You remember, Dad? You remember what you have to watch when you leave here?
Oh, I'm on it automatically.
All right, perfect. All right, thanks, Dad. We will check you out on next time. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You guys take care.
You take care.
Yeah, I have my dad watching Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told him
to
watch that because I said a lot of what I assume this Mortal Kombat movie is, that animated movie hit on so many different levels. Like it looks like the live action is focusing on Scorpion and Sub-Zero. That's what the animated movie did. And the animated movie was literally video game transcribed into like
it was like the happy mix of the video game and the original movie.
I agree.
Because it was like almost the same shit.
Yep. And they gave respect to a character that I know the director said they didn't want to put in this movie, but he'll be down the line. Joel was just like, why don't I see Johnny Cage?
About Johnny Cage.
The director immediately was just like, relax. I know I was going to put him in here, but next time. He's going to have his War Machine moment, I guess. Next time, baby. Pete, you didn't give your best ending, right?
Best ending, Conan. Yeah, Conan on the throne.
Got you. That's right. Okay, got you. All right, Joel. Best ending.
I don't know. I'm not thinking about it. There's so many endings. I can't think of any endings that I don't. I've never picked out a favorite ending. I know there are ones that I really like.
Is there one that maybe shocked you or stood out to you more so than others?
I don't know. I would have to actually.
Well, I'll say this. I know you don't want to incorporate it in it, and you don't have to use it, but I know both our jaws dropped when Mysterio said Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Like that was just.
I am trying to avoid using superheroes because
we definitely did have a Home Alone moment though, like whole hand on the face, just what?
Yeah, a lot of that movie we did that, especially at the end.
Sure.
Especially when they popped up into space, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Fucking scrolls.
Oh my god, Joel saw me probably at one of my angriest because I felt so fulfilled. I'm like, Nick Fury was a Skrull. I've been saying this for years. And then when they show like it wasn't really, it was just like, no, why can you guys just let me have that? I've been wanting that for so long. I've been saying Fury died in Winter Soldier since Winter Soldier came out, and I thought I was getting that in Far From Home. Nope, of course not. Never will.
Fury.
Yeah. Marvel I swear, Marvel, they listen to the theories that I have and they just go, wait till he sees this. And it's just like, God damn it, Marvel. Like, let me have one win here.
Nope.
They will never let me have a win. I'm just now preparing to be disappointed this Friday. But Joel, so you can't think of any sci-fi fantasy ending?
So what?
I said you can't think of any favorite sci-fi fantasy ending?
Not really.
All right, fair enough. Well then I'm technically going to give Joel the Far From Home Spider-Man is Peter Parker. He doesn't want it, but he now has it.
But I'll take
he now has it till he figures one out.
That's your pick.
All right, let's move on to best sci-fi fantasy character. Again, mine is super heavy on superheroes. I'm going Thor. Jaydee, Pete, we talked about this before. Joel, you know this. I thought he had the best arc in the MCU. That's literally the best arc. I don't think it was the most iconic because that would go to Stark. But legit the best arc. By the way, speaking of Stark, kind of off topic. Just rewatched Iron Man yesterday. And then I watched the Shang-Chi trailer. Did you guys know the Ten Rings was part of the first Iron Man movie?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Didn't know. Never paid attention. Never noticed it. Never noticed the poster behind Stark.
Yeah.
never once noticed that.
The terrorist group was called the Ten Rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Never noticed it.
Mm.
Well, that's probably because you were 5 years old at the time.
That's exactly why. But it makes me even sadder to know that that was in the background, and then we never saw Iron Man versus the Mandarin. Ah,
Yep. Got Iron Man.
No, that does not count. That's not a movie. Same way Batman with
What
Bat
are you
Nipples
talking
is not a
about?
movie.
Trevor
That's not a movie.
Slattery. I love Trevor. Trevor Slattery was the best part of the movie. You know what I mean? When he got the 80s montage and we got to see him in his version of whatever Magnum PI show he was in, you know, when he came to California. You know what I mean? And he just wanted a beer. I fucking love it. Trevor Slattery.
Yeah,
and
that was...
mind you, Ben Kingsley is part Indian, so him being of Asian, you know, it can't place. It plays.
Yeah, that was just like, all right, Kevin Feige, you signed off on this? Okay, I don't understand that. But yeah, so the Mandarin's been around for forever. I mean, we also saw the tattoo. The guy who gave Ivan the big bad in Iron Man 2. Remember when he handed papers to come to the US? That guy also works for the Ten Rings.
Oh,
and then
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he works for, that was confirmed by Feige. He works for Ten Rings.
Okay.
And then in Ant-Man,
in his hand.
right, yes. I was just about to say, and then in Ant-Man, the guy that was trying to buy the technology had the Ten Rings tattoo on it.
Oh, I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's why I'm like, when people are like, no way the Mandarin could be the power broker, I'm like, it actually would make the most sense. He's been around since the very first Marvel movie.
True.
I think it's Sharon.
Oh, Lord Jesus, Jaydee. Oh, no. Please don't.
Yeah. You know what they should really put on Disney Plus is the little shorts, and maybe they are on there. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
That's a good call.
The shorts that are in the Blu-rays, like those little special edition ones. Like when we saw what's his name, Ben Kingsley in the prison, and the dudes come up like, "Our boss wants to speak to you. He's not happy with you using his name." That should be on Disney Plus, so everybody could see it at this point.
That was a great vignette. I love that.
That was the best one.
I am curious, will we see Scoot McNairy come back? Because to me, it's one of those things where it's like, it's the weirdest thing to get someone like Scoot McNairy to do that, and then you never use him again.
What did he do?
He was the guy who said the real Mandarin would like to speak with you. He doesn't like you using.
Oh, he was the one interviewing him?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yep.
Okay.
That was Scoot McNairy. So I'm curious.
I don't know who that is.
You know who Scoot McNairy is?
Narcos season 2.
Oh,
the Mexican one.
Well, that's he did an amazing job in that. But yeah, he's been in a lot of yeah. All right. So so I'm going my favorite sci-fi fantasy character. I'm going Thor. Loved his arc. Honestly, cannot wait to see. I'm really curious, man, because you can't bring in Gore the God Butcher and he ain't killing gods. So I'm like, what god is biting the dust? I don't think
Valkyrie.
they'll kill off Thor. You think they'll kill off Valkyrie?
Why not?
Oh, I hope not.
She's the
So
queen.
pretty.
But is she considered a god? That's what I really couldn't grasp. Is Valkyrie a god?
No, not really. No.
Yeah, I think she is.
They don't pray to her, so then who else is there?
But she'd probably stick up for Thor and then get killed in the process.
Yes. Okay, so if you're saying that, Jaydee, I agree with that. But as far as what Gore the God Butcher would be hunting for, it would be Thor, it would be Loki, and then obviously when Jane becomes Thor, she then fills that need of a god to kill.
But is she a god?
Well, once she has the power of Mjolnir, I think that defaults you to, because you become the god of thunder. So I think that kind of defaults you to a god.
Or do we kill?
Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, did we kill Sif? Since Sif got away with it in part 3.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I would have to really look into this because I don't know how Asgard works. I honestly think the only gods were Loki, Thor, and Odin. I don't think anybody else there that lived in that kingdom were gods. I think the only gods were the three, because it's literally the title. Like Loki is the god of mischief. Thor is the god of thunder.
We never met Tyr. Tyr's the god of war.
Right.
We never met Balder. Balder's the god of bravery.
To be honest with you, I think we might see a montage of Gore the God Butcher killing these gods. And I think because in the comics, he went around killing gods, and Thor was kind of like following his trail, and he was seeing all these gods being slaughtered. So it could be a kind of thing to where he kills all these gods that Thor knows, and maybe one of them gets like a distress signal out. But to me, it's like seeing a Suicide Squad movie and like only one person dies. It's like, well, that's not a Suicide Squad movie. Like more people.
You gotta also remember, like what do we consider gods is different in this world. They're like aliens in this world. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. That's why I said I'm interested to see where Taika and Feige are going with this.
And I mean, in that regard, yeah, Jay.
No, I'm sorry, Pete. I cut you off before. Go ahead.
That's all right. No, I was going to say something stupid, honestly. So if you want to go first.
Well, no. Does he kill Surtur? Since Surtur's the one that you pretty much.
That's another thing. And I mean, but Joel's right. Everybody's pretty much a god by that comparison. So even if like he turns around and just asks him outright, Jay, when someone asks if you're a god, you say yes. I told you it was gonna be stupid.
I am interested to see. How they approach that, because it's like you brought Christian Bale in to be Gore the God Butcher. You gotta let him butcher some gods. So
yes,
I even theorized that Matt Damon coming back because in Ragnarok he was the actor. He was playing Thor. I theorize that will be the first person to die, because I think Gore the God Butcher will think that's Thor and kill him and then go, oh, well, goddamn, okay, you were not Thor.
I hope we get Matt Damon as the new Stan Lee cameos from this point on. He was already in Deadpool. He got Thor.
You say that, but I always love the idea of everyone saying Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool being kind of the cameo in each Marvel movie, like popping up in one way or another. And I'm like, because it's like, it's Ryan Reynolds. He would find a way to make it gold. So I'm like, that would be interesting. But to see Matt Damon portraying the acting version of each character of the movie he's in would legit be hilarious. Like he's like a traveling act.
Yeah. Either him or Michael Pena.
Yeah.
Michael Pena.
I would say it's a huge disservice if Michael Pena is not in Deadpool. We need him to kind of let Wade know everything that he's
him break down the whole MCU.
Break down the whole MCU, and Deadpool's just like, what? Like, I got lost a long time ago. Yeah, that definitely needs to happen for sure. At least be like a little short that they put out. Those two interacting.
Luis.
We need it. We need it. We need a road trip between Deadpool and Luis. All right, Jaydee, who you going with for your character?
From House Atreides, Paul Atreides of Dune, favorite protagonist in a sci-fi flick.
What was it?
Oh man, I'm sorry. It fell down. It dropped. Paul Atreides, the main character from Dune.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm grossly unfamiliar.
I knew who you were talking about.
You don't know Dune either?
No, I never got around to watching it, but I do plan to, especially before the new movie comes out.
Well, watch the movie version, because the Sci-Fi Channel's one was just garbage.
Well, I'm one of those, my OCD takes over. I will engulf it all. Like, I watched every Salem's Lot. I watched all 3 versions of Blade Runner. I'd never seen that until COVID. So I watched, and I was like, all right, well, there's apparently all 3 fucking different ones. I'm watching them.
Dune is great. Dune is great. I'm sorry, it is long. But it fulfills my elements of, what is sci-fi fantasy. It can fit in a Frank Frazetta painting, and the entire movie is on sand. And he's the son of the king when the kingdom gets dethroned, who finds out that he's also a descendant of the sand people, for lack of a better term, and he works his way up to become the leader of the sand people and stuff like that. He's the first one to ride a worm, and it's just, oh man, just there's so many different sayings in that movie. You know, fear is the mind bringer, and you know, you had Patrick Stewart in there. You had a lot of what we call B or character actors in that movie where you're like, oh, I know him from, or I know her from. And
that's why you gotta give some credit to this new one, because he went for names.
Yeah,
he went for names. He went for guys that he knew, guys and girls that he knew could live up to the roles. And out of this new trailer, the one scene, like I know everyone loved the action and whatnot. The one scene that stood out to me the most is when he visits the lady and he puts his hand in the box and she so politely tells him, "You remove it, you'll die." And like you just see him going through the pain. It's like this movie.
Got to go through it. Yeah,
he's got to go through it.
So Pete, that scene is the equivalent of when Flash Gordon has to stick his arm in the tree stump.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I thought of.
Pete's like, all right, I get you. I'm here. I will say this, Jaydee. The biggest difference I would say, because I know a lot of people were trashing Dune when this new one was being talked about being made. The only difference I would say is the original Dune is definitely very much story driven. Story driven with the visuals. This one is going to be more action packed with a good story. Okay. And I think that's why, like, you look at movies like Dune and you're like, well, it's about the journey. And some people are like, I don't want to sit through that. It's the biggest difference of what I tell people when you watch Lord of the Rings and you watch the Hobbit series. The Hobbit does exactly what Lord of the Rings does, just quicker. Like it's not the longer journey of it. It just kind of gets there a lot quicker. But it doesn't mean it's better. It just kind of does things that the original kind of just didn't. So this Dune kind of looks like it's doing some of the things the original didn't. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a better movie. But I tell you what, the star power in this Dune that's coming out, whoo, it is chock full of it. I mean, it is star power everywhere. I don't remember though the thing he did with the sword. Did they have that in the original Dune?
What sword?
Well, not the sword. The knife, where him and Jason Momoa were like holding it to their foreheads.
No, he trained with the knife, and he trained with this weird gun that was a triangle that went over his fist. Mm-hmm. And the other weapon they had was a weird shovel that they used to use to stick into the worms so they could climb the worms. I'm just
trying to see how different Denny's Dune is going to be from the original.
Oh no, they did have a knife thing. Well, I don't know if they did, like a salute with the knife, but the scene between Sting and the main character was with a knife.
Okay.
The main fight. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. No, I love the pick of Dune. It is very underrated, especially with people today, and it's only going to get more underrated when this new one comes out. But I think it's very good, Pete. I do think if you have not seen it, definitely check it out. I do think you'll definitely enjoy it. Because Dune, I would put in the same
3 hours. Direct.
It is 3 hours. Right. It is 3 hours. It's 3 hours of desert, but it is very good. But I put it in the same boat, Jaydee, as the original Mad Maxes. How you kind of look at those, and like if you look at them today compared to the Tom Hardy version, it's drastically different. But again, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily better.
Correct.
So yeah, definitely if you have not seen it, please check it out. Never thought I'd be the one saying if you have not seen Dune, check out Dune. But no, very, very, very good movie. Glad you put it on here. Pete, what character are you putting up?
So runner up, and Jay, I know you're gonna really appreciate this one. The Death Dealer from Frank Frazetta. And this was a set of toys that I got from Amok Time. This came in two versions. There was the full armored one, and then there's one where his arms are bare. I discovered the Death Dealer and Frank Frazetta when I was in high school, and I would wear like all crazy like heavy metal or like crazy like fantasy art shirts. And I bought Mad Death Dealer shirts just because I thought, that shit's dope. And this kid in school used to call me Frazetta. And this is before the days of the internet, kids. So I know that's hard to understand, but I didn't know who the fuck he was until my art teacher told me all about him. And he gave me some old like reprint art books and art prints and stuff of his, and that was how I discovered Frazetta, and I found out that he did, so some guy came along and wrote 4 novels, just completely extrapolating an entire character and character history from these paintings of Frazetta. And those novels are pretty rare now, but they're really fantastic. And if you can find them, preferably digitally, because apparently they're like pretty expensive on eBay. But if you can get them digitally, they're really cool. And there have been comic books of the characters widely popular. I think one of the originals just sold for something like $2.5 million or something ridiculous like that. Maybe it was 22 million for all I know. I don't know. It was expensive though.
Here's a cool thing about Frazetta. Played a lot of stickball, played high school and college ball. I think he was drafted by the Mets or a professional baseball team. He did not play ball because he needed to support his family.
Go figure.
He was either a Queens or Manhattan boy.
Brooklyn. He grew up near Flatbush. Really? Yeah.
Okay. And all right, so here's where the stickball comes into play. He would do his paintings.
Maybe it was Red Hook.
Stick the painting in the oven to dry them out. Go downstairs, play stickball, and then come upstairs when the paintings were done painting.
That's funny.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
wait, so Pete, your character's name is Death Dealer, right?
Yes, sir.
We're getting a Death Dealer in Shang-Chi.
I was gonna say that. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that Kabuki Ninja?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Not quite the same. This dude's got a nasty horned helmet, big axe and shit. Rides that black horse.
I just thought that it was awesome that right on the eve of getting the trailer, Pete's like, Death Dealer. And it's like, wait.
Well, that's my runner-up. You already know who my favorite character is, but I have to mention him because he influenced so much. None of this would be here if it wasn't for my man He-Man right here every single day watching this show. And I mean,
make me cry.
I love superheroes because of He-Man. This is the Mondo one that I'm very happy to got my grubby mitts on. It's such an awesome figure.
Now, I said this, Pete. I said whenever they do this movie, now they were originally going to do it with Noah Centineo. I
don't know.
Centineo.
You said Neo, Joel?
Centineo.
Thank you. To me, it's the one time I would ever say this. It's the one time you do have to modernize his look.
Yeah, without question. He needs to be a little bit right. He's in his underwear, for God's sakes. I get
it. The bob you don't necessarily need.
The blonde bob is really something you gotta update.
The 2008 didn't have the bob.
That's right.
No. Right.
It's
just I know I said this before, but I really do hope, and I know you guys disagree, but I really do prefer if he's just He-Man. Like, we see the transformation, and then he just stays He-Man.
I'm okay with it, but I need one transformation.
That's what I'm saying. I think you can earn it.
You could start the friggin' movie the same way, and I don't give this one a lot of credit, but the same exact way the New Adventures of He-Man started when Prince Adam realized he has to go on a long mission, walks into the throne room, and turns into He-Man in front of his parents. There you go. Big secret. I'm not a pussy. I'm actually fucking He-Man.
I kind of hope they kind of do it to where, like, how in Shazam, how when Billy kind of found out, like, oh, go ahead, Jaydee.
No, I'd rather they do it like Captain America, the First Avenger, where they did Chris Evans on a CG face on a younger body. So that way you stay with the same person.
Yeah,
it's going to
that's
throw
a good
people
idea.
off. That's Shazam.
Yeah, that's fair.
The two actors, the young boy and Shazam. Because now if they do a sequel, well, that kid is close to 20.
Right.
I said that, and that's why I said I was really curious how Warner Brothers didn't green light a sequel to that and start working on it literally right after that movie had finished. Because it's like, these kids, again, it's the Stranger Things all over again. Once they're not adorable anymore, all that's out the window. Like, what is the whole purpose of them being a child? So to me, it's just the idea of, and luckily for them, when he does start to kind of age out of Shazam, no one would be upset if we just got a movie where it's just Shazam. Like, it's not him turning into Shazam. Because he doesn't fight people often enough that knows that all you have to do is get him to say it and he turns back into a kid.
Right, but then you pull the hook of what Shazam is. then Shazam might as well just be Superman, right?
Right.
The hook is
That is fair.
keeping him, the kid, and how do you make the story challenging enough to, keep the kid as the kid when he really needs to be Shazam, and how do you keep Shazam as Shazam when he really needs to be the kid, and building the story around that. That's the biggest challenge. You lose that, you lose what Shazam is.
Yeah. All the works as a one-off. Kingdom Come.
That's very fair. Okay, so then let me ask you this: he's 18 already. How many more Shazams? How many more Shazams do you think they can squeeze out before you're like, well, he's growing? like you're not telling me this is still a 15-year-old child. Like he's tall.
He's gonna be like Shazam.
Right? Like, Shazam. It's like,
let's look at the Rock movie for a second, right? He goes from Teth Adam to Black Adam.
Right.
Yeah.
Rock is not gonna, himself down.
The whole point is he doesn't change back.
He doesn't want to.
If he changes back, he dies. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He will not say.
I mean, I'm with you, Jaydee. If you take away the kid, it is essentially just Superman with power. I mean, with
Superman
with magic. Sorry, Superman with magic. Right. But it's also very tricky because you didn't go, and I don't mean this in the sense that it's going to sound, but you didn't go young enough. So like he's 18 now. The movie only came out a few years ago. Right. So you should have casted someone who was actually 13 at the time. So he's growing with the role. Yeah. So by the time you get to your third movie, he's now probably 18, and you can go, well, we don't really necessarily need you more than maybe here and there in like a Justice League film going forward. But now that he's already 18 and they're just now doing the second movie, he'll be 20 or 20. Yeah, he'll be 20 by the time you do the third one, if they do a third one. I just need Shazam with Black. Oh, I'm sorry, Joel. Go ahead.
I'm just saying it's not a big jump from 18 to 20.
No, not at all. I'm just saying I assume at some point he won't sound like a child when he ages. The more
I'm
he ages.
sure he hit puberty a while ago, so I don't think you got to worry about it.
So you think what he sounds like is what he'll sound like for the rest of his life?
I think he already hit puberty. I think he's good.
No, for sure. But sometimes people do. Do people get voices later? I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
But like, it might be a while.
Fair. Look, I mean, I've always said this. As long as we get Black Adam, Shazam, and Superman in the same movie, that's really all I care about. Just make sure we can get that. Because that animated movie is so slept on. It was short, right to the point, but so well done. So well done.
It was.
And then it was like when you saw when you saw that photo of The Rock and Henry sitting next to each other, drinking some whiskey or tequila or whatever, it was just like, oh, the possibilities. Like seeing these two extreme muscular guys just punch the hell out of each other for 2.5 hours would just be cinematic.
Is it true that Henry's agent is The Rock's agent, the ex-wife?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or his manager?
Yeah, Danny Garcia is his manager. Same.
Okay.
So that's why part of me is kind of just like The Rock might just go, hey, I know J.J. Abrams wants to do some shit, but that's Superman. And I dare you to mess it up so I can leave and go to Marvel like I want to anyway. Like, go ahead and try me. We know
he does
to be Namor. He did say he wanted to be Namor.
I don't know what he said.
No, The Rock did say he wanted to be Namor. He was saying how if ever he would be interested in something Marvel, Namor is the guy he had interest in. And it's like, that's a buff ass Namor.
But he also
swimming stride vicious.
He skirts the line between good and evil, just like Black Adam is doing.
It's great. It screams to why he wants it. Same way Batista's like, I want Bane. And it's like, no, it makes sense. I get it. All right. I love it. I love He-Man, Pete. We need a series, an animated series. We need a live.
Well, there is that one coming. I don't know that I have a lot of faith in it, but I'm hoping.
Wasn't it by Kevin Smith?
Kevin Smith, yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Oh, yeah. When is it coming out?
I don't know. I'm not that wild about the toys. They look very, I don't know.
There's two different cartoon series coming out. One that's, there's two. Because Kevin Smith was like an anime.
Right.
Something like that. And then there's a cartoon looking one.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Like for like a Netflix or like a Cartoon Network?
I think they're both Netflix too.
Oh, then I'm fine. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say like a cartoon. I was gonna say, oh, that's for children. But
Really?
if they're both on Netflix, and I'm interested.
Yeah, there's two different He-Man shit coming out.
I didn't know
One's
that.
the
I
Kevin
knew
Smith.
about.
The other one, I'll look it up now, but one's the Kevin Smith one, and then the other one.
To me, it's a staple. It's like how Transformers always needs to be doing something, whether it's a toy, an animation, or a live action. He-Man is right up there with G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Yeah, it was my formative years.
Right. There should never be a time where we're sitting here and we're like, there's nothing He-Man going on anywhere. Like it should be on a constant rotation.
I collect
those were the top
comics,
3
toys, all because of He-Man. Weapons. I collect weapons because of He-Man.
Jaydee makes a point. I think that was the big 3. I think it was He-Man, G.I. Joe, and Transformers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the 80s.
Yeah.
And then
the 4 spot. Yep.
Could you picture if you were another cartoon or a comic book around that time and you're just like, I just want someone to notice me, and it's like, no, sorry, man. He-Man.
Dude, but they went for it. You had Sectors, you had Mask, you had Air Raiders, you had
Thundercats, Voltron.
Thundercats.
Yeah.
Voltron, but Voltron was a port over. Voltron was going on in the 70s. You know, but like that, you had Robotech, you know what I mean? That it was people trying to port stuff over. Right. Besides that, you had Birdman and Galaxy Trio. Yeah, I mean, dude, there were so many fucking tie-ins. There's a TV show. Jesus Christ. There's a YouTube show that I love watching, and it's Toy Galaxy. And the guy tries to tie in every cartoon and toy tie-in that has been out there. I think he's gone through all of it. He's exhausted it all. He did Tire Sharks, Toxic Avenger. You know, he found stuff that I'm just like, oh,
I have heard
of that existed.
Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, dude, Toxic Avenger. Why was that a kid's cartoon?
Oh my God.
Kids cartoon. Why was Rambo a kid's cartoon? But there was Chuck Norris that he had toys in a comic book and a cartoon.
The Karate Commandos.
Yeah, man. I had a lot of those figures. They were cheap to buy. You know.
So that's completely crazy. I actually just thought of this. It's the whole point of what this show is about. Before we finish our last topic and get out of here, we have to show off some figures before we get out of here.
Go ahead.
So I actually just got these. I'm getting my Star Wars fever again. Like it's really starting to kick into high gear. Thanks to Disney, I got a chance to review some of the Bad Batch that's coming out. It is
very nice.
It's emotionally good. It's oh god, it's so good. But anyway, Joel would know this, I think, more so than Jaydee and Pete. But I got Zeb. I also got Kanan. And I had to, and I think I showed you guys this before, but my favorite of the Bad Batch in Hunter. Some Hunter.
Which one's Hunter?
Hunter's legit the leader.
He's the one that looks like Rambo?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hunter legit is the only clone that ever made me go, I don't know, Rex. it might be Hunter. I might have to choose Hunter over you, Rex. But yeah, so I had to bring in some Star Wars for the sci-fi fantasy portion of it. I didn't talk enough Star Wars, which I was a little disappointed about, but had these figures to show off. Pete and Jaydee, if you guys want to take a second to grab yours. I'm good. You good? Okay.
Okay, Pete.
What we got, Pete? I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
This friggin' thing is awesome and worth every penny. It's friggin' heavy, man. It's got to be an easy, 10, 12 pounds. Makes cool noises and shit. And, I mean, really, if you hit somebody on the head with this, it's going to hurt, for sure.
It looks like it. I remember, Pete, when I saw that, I got so sad. And the reason I got sad was, I remember when you watch Ragnarok, when they show the Coliseum and they show Hercules. They show I think it's Man Thing or something like that, and they show Beta Ray.
Yeah.
Right?
Double header, Beta Ray Bill. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, clearly Beta Ray Bill is in the plans. And then I'm watching Infinity War, and I'm watching him make Stormbreaker. And I'm just like, oh no, we may never get Beta Ray Bill. like, you know, and I'm like, I want the gold actual Stormbreaker. Like, I want the accurate Stormbreaker. So I'm like, who knows? Maybe, you know, maybe this influences him to name his weapon Stormbreaker, and we actually get the accurate look or whatever. But
maybe get shattered.
I mean, because I hope so, because I'm watching Thor make this, and I'm just sitting there crying, just like, never get Beta Ray Bill. Like, why? So seeing that just brought that into my head. I'm just like, oh, we'll never get Beta Ray Bill.
It's true. I mean, maybe fingers crossed he makes a cameo in Love and Thunder. I know my friend Kayla is like, she's like you. She's really angry that he's not shown up yet.
Because, I mean, and I'll say this. To me, every one of the major Marvel characters, right, at one point or another has had like a legit partner. We know Thor's best friend, obviously, was Heimdall, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, you go Hulk. Hulk's eventually going to have She-Hulk, right? You go Stark had Rhodey, Cap had Bucky, and then Sam. Thor had Beta Ray Bill. And I'm like, if it looks like he's not going to have it, and you're making another Thor, then I'd prefer her Thor to have Beta Ray Bill. Like, just give me Beta Ray Bill. I need it. Like, I don't need his own movie or anything, but have him as like the roadie to, Thor's Iron Man. That's all.
I don't know. I want to say, you know, maybe that's not going to happen because Beta Ray Bill's people were on the refugee ship. That's how they entered Thor's world, and that's what Thor's people were on at the end of.
Right, but remember, Feige said that a ship had escaped. It's how Valkyrie and all the people that live in the new Asgard, those are all the people that escaped from it. So you could say he was one of the ones that did escape, and we just haven't seen him yet. Because, you know,
but Beta Ray Bill's not from Asgard.
No, right. Not at all. But I'm saying you very well could say he was maybe one of the stragglers that maybe was in Asgard or whatever. It's just all of it's gonna be messy because in the comics, Odin is who appointed Beta Ray Bill, giving him the hammer and everything. So it's like even that.
I'm sure at one point or another they have done production designs of him. You know, if we had access to their vault, you could do that
at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do want to see him. He's
no, I like him. I'm with it. I'm with you on that. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I just took a look at them pictures. I remember seeing the posters and I misinterpreted them. I thought it was the same show. I did not realize two completely different titles and descriptions and apparently even sword styles and shit. So awesome, yeah. That's another thing. I still search eBay every damn day, or not every day, but like every so often for a friggin' He-Man sword. They made a Sword of Omens. Why is there no He-Man sword?
That's a good question.
Speaking of that, I can't find and I know Joel's going to call me a hypocrite because I slandered the show all the time. I can't find Lionel's sword either. I can't find his sword anywhere.
Sword of Omens.
But that's on eBay. You can get a hold of that for about $80. A real like 42-inch blade, got a light up Eye of Thundera.
It's worth it.
Start preparing your armory.
No, but I can't wait to see what they do with Thundercats. Also, like seeing He-Man, Thundercats, all that come to life. It just constantly reminds me of why we need gargoyles.
What is that?
Wow.
Wow.
No,
that's He-Man's fault.
If we're getting He-Man, Thundercats, and Voltron, or no, Gundam. We're getting Gundam.
Gundam.
I want gargoyles. Give us gargoyles. Stop making us wait for that, or at least bring the series back. I'll take that. Yeah. I won't argue that. I'll take that. Because I imagine the movie version would just terrify people. I remember when I saw the faces of the Ninja Turtles from Michael Bay's, I was just like, oh, whoa, oh my God. Like, what is that? So I can only imagine what the gargoyles would look like. Anyway, Joel, you're rounding us out. Your character.
There's so many characters. I probably narrowed, like I mentioned earlier, like I love the Battle of the Bastards, so I could say maybe Jon Snow would be one of my favorite sci-fi characters. He just struck a chord with me. I love that character. I could say I always liked Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, or Legolas. Well, I like all three of them actually. Gimli, I love all three of those guys. I love that, just the way they just their little interplay. I just love the three of them together. Matter of fact, I'm gonna probably go watch the Two Towers soon because I just finished watching the first one not that long ago. So I'm gonna finish that trilogy again. Who else? I mean, I guess for now I'll just stick with that for now. But there's so many. You could pick so many different characters. Honestly, just.
Right. I like that you said Lord of the Rings again because back in the day they had some of the best games for Lord of the Rings. The multiplayer open world games. Now they have something of Mordor or something like that, where it's not any of the characters from Lord of the Rings, but it's in that world. No, give us. Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you. Give us either remakes of the original Lord of the Rings games, or just give us new actual Lord of the Rings games, but same playable way as Shadows of Mordor. Like, I want to be able to play with different characters like you can in that game. So they need to remake that. Just like they need to remake The Path of Neo. That game is so fucking amazing. So amazing. No one ever talks about that game. The playability, you could fly with Neo. You could recreate the pole scene where he's fighting off like 100 agents with the pole. Beautiful games. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up Lord of the Rings, Joel. You know what? Maybe I'll go through that again. Fresh eyes. And maybe I'll hate it all the same. Anyway, to end our night, we're gonna end it with best sci-fi fantasy show, live action or animation. For animation.
Oh, now animation.
Well, I thought I left it open-ended. I didn't tell you guys it had to be live action. I'm going Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Love it. Love Dave Filoni. One of the only people that I'm like, I need to sit down and talk to that guy and just pick his brain. What he was able to do with creating emotion for clones. For, essentially clones to me in George Lucas's world were always like the mud putties from Power Rangers. They were never really meant to have really speaking lines. They were meant to just be there, and they're like cannon fodder, really. So for Dave to kind of bring them in, give them names, give them feelings, give them arcs, was just really, really, really genius. And he brought back Darth Maul. Like, Dave Filoni gave us Darth Maul back. I will never be able to thank him enough for that. And shout out to Sam Witwer for providing the voice of Darth Maul. Oof, is that just scary. And I always say in the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I was telling Joel, Darth Maul gave Darth Vader a run for his money for hallway scenes. That scene where he's killing clones with like a crate, with like a steel crate, no lightsaber, nothing, just ripping through clones. Bravo. I mean, bravo. So I'm going Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I don't care what anyone says. The animated movie was also really well done. I loved it. First time we see Asajj Ventress. First time we see Ahsoka Tano. Really the first time we see Rex, Cody, them having names, personalities, whatnot. So just bravo all the way around to Dave Filoni. Amazing job. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is what I'm going with. Joel, you're making a face. Were you trying to say that technically Cody had speaking lines in Revenge of the Sith?
I think he did, but
no,
either way.
He did, but it was so little. Like, I think his biggest speaking line was when Palpatine came on and said execute Order 66, and he was just like, fire.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he spoke. Okay, didn't know that good. But all right, Jaydee, I'm gonna go to you. Your favorite
Witcher.
show.
Toss a coin to your Witcher.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Hell
And
yeah.
it has a lot of desert in it. There's definitely desert scenes in the series.
Yes, there is.
And it fit into a Frazetta painting. That's sci-fi fantasy for me, brother.
And I will say, Jaydee, a nod to The Witcher. One, when you play the game, the gruff.
I never played it.
Oh, well, I'm just saying the gruff sound of the voice from the game. You kind of just go, how are they gonna like duplicate that? Henry Cavill nailed that. He nailed it. It's almost so much of a mumble. It's no words attached to it. That's how well he does it. To where it's
Like,
just, did he say something?
I actually prefer his voice over the game, because the problem with the game is great. The game is absolutely one of the greatest games I've ever played.
Yep.
It's that good, but he has a regular, like, he has no accent. He sounds American. Everyone else has an accent except him. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
That's part of his power.
But he has like a really grunty voice,
right?
Like grizzly, like. But he has no accent. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But Henry Cavill at least gives him an accent with that grunt. So I appreciate that.
For sure. And I will say, Jaydee, to picking The Witcher, it had one of the best sequences of a fight ever. The scene where where he first is fighting these dudes who are trying to kill this girl, and he's fighting through and he uses his power for the first time in the show. Oh my God. It's like one stop motion of that whole sequence. And it's just like,
with that.
God, so good. And me and Joel were pleasantly surprised. Their dragon did not look bad. And I really felt like that dragon was going to look bad. And it did not.
I felt that was one of the best episodes.
I won't disagree at all. I won't disagree at all. And yes, again, bravo to you, Jaydee. It has one of the greatest songs ever. Toss a coin to your Witcher.
That wasn't in the game?
No, it's not in the game at all. No. Nope, not in the game. I don't know who thought of that, but it was my ringtone for the longest.
They don't even call him what's his name? Jaskier.
Yeah.
His name they don't call him that in the game. It's his name's like Dandelion or some shit.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. Absolutely. So shout out to what they did in the show, because it was definitely better than what they did with that character in the video game.
Pete, you didn't watch The Witcher?
I love The Witcher. That's actually one of my answers. It's my favorite live action. I picked two because I needed an animation one. But yeah, man, The Witcher is right in there for swords and sorcery, and singularly some of the best broadsword fighting choreography. We see katanas a lot. You don't catch a lot of broadswords running around. And Henry Cavill is just so friggin' jacked that he's literally swinging a two-handed broadswords with one hand apiece. Like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger when he's doing the spin move with the barbarian sword. And I'm sitting there like, I got them same feels, man. And that shit is awesome.
All right, so you know what? Let me add an honorable mention. I couldn't figure out the title for that before. Honorable mention for an animated series. And I'm gonna go Sword and Science and mention the Voltron animated series on Netflix.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That tied in so many elements. It honored the original series so well, to the point where that poured over, people were confused with what happened to the guy with the black costume. And in Japan, he died. Here in the States, they said, he went to live on another planet. Here, they dealt with that black costume very well. They gave him the promotion. But then when they even had the parallel universe episode, they gave him the name that he had here in the States. And it was just like, and if you're a kid watching that and seeing that today, and how well the story was told throughout the 5 seasons, man, credits abound. And it was sword and science, because you had castles, you had lions, you had melee weapons, along with laser beams and guns and big monsters and aliens.
True.
And deserts. Lots of desert planets.
And I will say they did a really good job on the Pacific Rim. And anime. It was very, very, very well done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I cannot wait for what else they bring with that series.
Yeah.
All right, so Pete, what was your
Yeah, might as well finish that out.
what was your animation?
A quick shout out to The Legend of Zelda that was on on Mario Brothers on Fridays on Channel 5.
God,
There was only 13 episodes.
Oh shit!
Fits right into my classic trope of the hero must save the princess from the evil wizard or whatever, swords and sorcery.
Ooh,
that is one of the
on that.
greatest cartoons ever. One of the most influential on me as a writer and even as an artist. So good. Excuse me, princess.
I love it.
It's hilarious. And of course, Jay, you'll go with me on this. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
1982, one of the finest cartoons ever. Me and my dad used to watch that. It was one of the only ones he watched with me because he wasn't really into cartoons, but he loved this show. And, you know, if you note about the show, there was 39 episodes, and all the kids wanted to do was go home, go back to their world. And then it got canceled because mothers thought it was kids were summoning the devil. And like the kids never got home. The series never finished until it's on YouTube now. And I highly suggest any fan of the show that has not seen the YouTube animated episode of Requiem, please go watch it.
Wait, the final episode?
So the final episode had voice recording only. It was like a table read, you know, like a rehearsal. Someone went ahead finally and animated it in the exact same style as the original with those voice recordings. Dude,
wow.
It's perfect. It gives such an amazing ending to the show. It's a half-hour long, and I cried watching this because it was that good.
I've got the DVD set.
So do I. I had to buy it. I went and bought it immediately.
What's it called?
Requiem.
Requiem?
You got to let me know after you watch it, man. I'm eager to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
I put that in my notes too.
Yep. I mean, I went to the cemetery and watched it like on my laptop because I had to.
Dare you do that? How you gonna
do it?
The feels right before we sign off.
Had to do it, man.
I was good the whole episode.
Right? Here comes Pete. Here comes Pete.
We're fucking it all up.
Well, Joel, you have to find a way to top that. So
Jesus.
Got it pulled up. I'm gonna watch that shit right now.
What? I'll check it out maybe.
What are you going with, Joel?
Let's see. You guys already took a couple of them. Fuck. Because I do love. What was the question? It was.
It's late for him. It's late.
Sci-fi fantasy show.
Show, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we did so many of these already. Let's start with animation because, like, if I knew ahead of time, I probably would have had a bigger list. But I think I want to give a shout out to Castlevania.
Okay, good call.
A really good anime, like an adult anime. And obviously it's a very good game. But like the actual show, I mean, they do a really good job on Netflix with
next month.
Yeah, and that's right. And it's coming out. The next season's coming out too. And apparently they're going to do a spinoff or some shit or whatever. Mm-hmm. So
really,
I'm still waiting for when it's supposed to connect with Dante.
They're not going to connect with Dante.
I thought they said it was going to be from the same world.
Negative.
It doesn't make sense for that. That does not make sense at all. No.
You talk about Dante's Inferno or Dante Devil May Cry?
Devil May Cry. Yeah.
Okay.
So what did they say was supposed to connect with these video games turned anime?
No, he was just talking out of his ass. Those are just his shit that he connect. But they're under his umbrella basically.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, but like Devil May Cry chronologically would not fit with Castlevania. So yeah, Castlevania is probably my animated choice. Game of Thrones would probably be my best. I mean, like I still say, I know a lot of people didn't like the last season, but I don't care. I think it's still the greatest fucking show I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I think a lot of people's problem with the final season is the same problem people had with The Last Jedi. It just didn't give you what you wanted. And trust me, no one knows that more than Juwaan. But but I think that was it, because when you go story-wise, it's like it wasn't the worst thing ever. Could they have done some of the more cooler fan theories? For sure.
Right.
For sure. I mean, especially that last battle to where you're just like, wait, so they're not going to... You've been building this for like 9 seasons and they're not going to actually face off? Stupidest thing ever.
It was a rushed season.
For sure. But yeah, I don't think it was a bad season whatsoever. And yeah, Game of Thrones to me is top 5 greatest show of all time. Top 5.
Oh, not just for the genre. I mean, show in general.
No, I'm with you. I mean, show entirely. I put that up there with Sopranos because it's impact.
Love Sopranos.
It's pure impact. When someone says Sopranos, everyone always says exactly what you said, Joel. Oh, Sopranos, yes. Game of Thrones.
I wasn't a fan of Sopranos.
What?
Oh, love the Sopranos.
I never even watched it. I've seen a few episodes
What?
here and there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That show is amazing. I just finished rewatching the whole series.
Yeah.
I'm so glad my dad's not on here. His heart dropped to hear that. He swears by the Sopranos.
I'm not big on like crime stuff. Like it takes me a long time to try and get into that stuff. That's why I acknowledge the Godfather's position in movie history, but I can take it or leave it. Like,
yeah, I feel the same way about Carlito's Way and Scarface.
Like Goodfellas, I love Goodfellas because of Joe Pesci. He's fucking nuts.
Oh, 100%. But I'll tell you this right now, Jaydee. Scarface is easily one of the most overrated movies ever. Easily.
Yeah.
And I always say that because when you ask just a general person about Scarface, they can only really tell you about one scene. That's really it. They can only tell you about the one scene. So it's like, well, what's iconic about it? Well, that one scene. No. You got to be able to give me more from that movie. Like, if you're not telling me the bathtub scene, I don't want to hear your opinions on Scarface or really movies, because that to me was a huge scene. Anyone who saw the movie knows the bathtub shower scene. But yeah, no.
Anybody who watched Tiger King on Netflix knows the real guy who did the bathtub scene in real life that scene was based on.
Wow.
Guys, I'm sorry. I got to run 5 minutes early real quick to go celebrate the holiday with my buddy. Just got home from work and I got 9 minutes.
Absolutely,
so, brother. I bid you all farewell until next week. This has been great.
Absolutely.
On that, fellas, I'm going to say goodbye also.
Absolutely. We're all getting out of here.
Okay.
This has been a great episode. Want to thank my dad. Want to thank Pete. Want to thank Jaydee. Want to thank Joel. Very fun episode. Can't wait for the next one. Stay tuned for it. But till then, guys, thank you, and we will see you next week. Peace.